All right, everybody. So we are live tonight with Mr. Joel Johnson. And we got Drew Boyd here with us as well. Joel, we are so excited to have you on, man. It brings back so many memories just to see you sitting there. We're two old guys now, though, Joel.
We are, but happy to be here. Still,
So we are so glad to have you on. Thank you first off. You are the first one that we are introducing as the legends to come to the event. Oh, we lost him. We lost Joel. We'll give it a second and get him back on here. Drew, did you hit the whammy button?
I didn't hit anything.
He's like, I ain't playing with these guys. I'm out of here. All right. So, Adam, I don't know if you can resend the invite. I don't know if something happened. Oh, there he is.
Sorry about that.
There he is.
Yeah. That's all right.
Technical difficulty there.
All right. Hey, we've been having it, Joe, and I'm sorry.
I'm old.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the tardiness. We were trying to get some things fixed. We've been working on formatting and getting all this done. I got Adam, which is, the expert that's been doing this for CalRC now for almost a year. So he's been helping us. So we appreciate it so much.
Yeah, happy to be here. It's fun.
Yeah,
love it.
So Joel, let's talk a little bit about your history in RC and kind of how you ended up where you were with Kyosho and then maybe a little bit about your world championships that you've won. I know they were in two different types of classes and cars, but hey, it's still two worlds, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's one of the few to do it non-road and off-road. Yeah, boy, I don't know. The start was like in the mid 70s for me, 75. Started playing with these radio control cars before they were electric. And but soon we had 12 scale electric cars, which road racing. There was no off-road. And then I don't know about the year. I guess the year is probably 82 when the first Tamiya cars came out. So that was kind of when off-road got started. And I didn't race much of it then. I was too busy with all the road racing was really the most popular thing since that was just new releases. But eventually, skipping forward, got hooked up with Kyosho because of Trinity and Trinity using Kyosho motors as their base motor to do their modified motors with, back when modified motors were a thing, when we had brushes and motors and all that. So Kyosho came to us in, I guess it's like maybe January of 87 or something like that. And said, would you consider racing off-road and going to the Worlds? And it might have been even shorter than that, but, and so we said, sure, why not? We'll try it. And, so they sent me a car. I went to the local track there in Northern California, trying to learn, how to run these, how to jump a car, which was not my thing. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how we got hooked up with Kyosho, and it was always Kyosho and Trinity always had a close working relationship because of the motors. And, that's how I got started, and, went to the Worlds that year, maybe 3 months on the car and racing off-road in general. Tracks were much simpler, much different than they are now, obviously. So it wasn't quite as big of a disadvantage to try to go learn how to jump the car. There just weren't that many jumps. Thank God. Right.
Right. Yeah. Isn't it, Joel?
Yeah. So, we go to the race, and it's just, I'm still pretty much a fish out of water and off-road at that point. And, but the track, even in Europe, the European tracks are even more simple, if you will, than the American tracks at that point. So there's just a couple drop-offs and, maybe one small jump. And so it was really, while you could make mistakes, there wasn't that much different than on-road. So the Kyosho car, the Ultima, was a brand new car that year, and obviously worked quite well. We, Kyosho came over with a bunch of different tires. To me, that's the first time, tires really became a thing, because everybody was running, I think, a holiday buggy nipped tires. There was a lot of choices, and Kyosho came over with a lot of choices, and we had, I think we had a definite advantage there over everybody else, especially in two-wheel drive. And so yeah, we just kind of ran the car around, trying to get used to just racing in dirt and sliding cars around, and eventually it just, everything kind of clicked, and we were, we had the top 3 or 4 cars were Kyosho cars, and with Chris Moore and I forget the Japanese driver's name. Oh yeah, look at you guys.
There they are. Look at those.
Complete with the tie wraps down the bottom there. It's yes,
absolutely.
For the drag
Joe,
race.
I have a lot of people that tell me, and I was a young kid. I didn't run, but I was there. And the block tires, what advantage do you think they had at that race versus the others? Or was it the Trinity horsepower, you think?
No, I mean, we had, Trinity always had good power back then, but in dirt, I don't think there wasn't enough traction for that. But we had a few different compounds. So we had very soft compound tires that did have traction. We weren't certainly wheeling because the track had hard packed spots. I think there was even one spot with that had some pavers and things like that. So it was multi-surface. They oiled part of the track, if I remember correctly, with just motor oil, which is interesting.
Wow.
And so it just had a good overall grip around the track. And so we, it was a big deal, and it was a big deal for Kyosho. I think Hobbyco is the one to put out the next world champion ad before the race, which is pretty, risky, obviously. So we were able to make good on that and take the top 3 spots. And that's really, I'd won a lot in on-road by then, et cetera, but that kind of catapulted me to a different level in the hobby at that point. And, it was really, really fun. Quite surprising. I didn't expect to go over there. And I was hoping to make the main. I didn't expect to be battling for the win with so little time. And I knew the off-road guys at that time down in LA, and they, obviously they spent a lot of time and were very fast. So, but we were able to pull it off. So it was pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah. Joel and I had a dinner a couple months ago. It seems like it was still yesterday to me a little bit, Joel. And I remember us sitting at dinner, and you talked about the 93 Worlds a little bit. You want to talk about that story about how Pops was kind of in the background when you were doing your final qualifying there, and just some of those stories I thought were just really cool. Maybe the old school nation doesn't know that. Talk about that, and then we can kind of talk about the event a little bit here.
Sure. Yeah. So that Worlds, I really want, even after 87, I ran off-road a little bit in 88. And then, but for me, on-road was where I was making my hay, if you will. And it was very hard to compete in both, because it was just, the schedule was really difficult. And so I really went back to just running predominantly on-road. And then in 93, so this is 87, I go to the Worlds in 89. That was where the Yokohama had a huge tire advantage there. And that's where the handout tire rules for the next Worlds forever came from. And then after 89, I really didn't do much in off-road and just concentrated back in on-road. But 93 comes around. I've obviously been good friends with the Losies for years, and was running had run their cars, running their on-road stuff, their touring cars, everything. So they, Gary Kais had worked for Losi for years. And he was really my original sponsor back in the 80s, early 80s with MRP. Kind of and really a first mentor. And Gary's got 20 or 30 national championships. Who knows? It's so long ago. The Stones locked, they broke the Stones, so we don't know exactly.
Right.
But he was one of the best, and really, was great. And I was just a little punk kid at 10 years old, and we met at my parents' hobby shop, and so he raced at our hobby shop, and then eventually was working for MRP, which was a car company at the time. So they were one of my first sponsors. So I'd known Gary since the beginning of time. So Gary gives me a call in 93 and says, "Hey, we want you to go to the Worlds." And I'm like, I haven't really raced off-road in like 2.5, 3 years at least. And I go, lightning is not going to strike twice. This is much more complicated now than it was in 87. This is it's really been, perfected, if you will. So they kept hounding me. And then, so I finally said, okay, I will go do it. So I drove down, still living in Northern California at the time, drove down to Losi a couple of weeks before the race, built cars, went to the track, practiced, and, okay, here we go again, right? Just trying to get back into it. And so we go to the race, the track again, it's a pretty simple track. Certainly compared to the tracks are getting harder and harder in the US, a lot more doubles, triples, et cetera, and this track again the European tracks was just a couple of jumps and that was it. And it was quite rough in spots, but I'm like, well, maybe, at least I could get around it without embarrassing myself, lawn darting into things. And so I just was running practice, and I'd made a few changes. I was following what Jack Johnson was doing with his car. I made it, he would change something, I'd change that. He'd ask me, "What do you think?" I go, "I don't know. I didn't really feel any difference." And so I just stick with it. And then he changed something. I'd go, "Okay, I'll try that." And "What do you think?" I'm like, "I didn't really feel it. I'm just running around." So I kind of stopped changing my car. Everybody else is, going through their normal routines as off-road racers. And I just said, you know what? I need to just learn the track and just have a car that's consistent. The car seemed pretty consistent. So last round of practice comes around. I run the practice and I get done. And then there was like a little hill to the right of the track that you kind of ran around, and you could sit up on that hill and watch. And Pops Losi was up there, and I see him over there, and he stands up and starts clapping. And I'm like, I have no idea what he's clapping about, but I had turned some of the fastest laps all of a sudden in that round. And that's where, and again, so that's where it started. And everybody's like, "What'd you do to your car?" I'm like, "I haven't done anything since yesterday. These are the 2 changes I made, and I just stopped, And they're like, "Oh, wow. Okay. So now everybody's a little confused what they should do with their cars." And so I just went out and continued to drive the track and learn the track and adapt. And, ended up TQing, which was, again, pretty shocking. Obviously when you got Kinwald and those guys, these guys lived it, so tons of respect for all those guys that were doing doing off-road. And I'm like, well, here I am. Like, I'm just doing my thing and it's working, so and almost ended up winning it. We had rain before the second final, which really threw us for a loop. We weren't really quite sure what to do in the rain. Kind of lost that one, just, it was just a mess. And then third final, just didn't quite have it. Kinwald beat us, and it was great, and he's an amazing driver. So that's kind of my almost my second off-road world championship by just, it was a little bit of a lesson in my opinion, because you can go and change cars, you can change your car every run searching for the perfect setup, but there's a one point when you just have to drive it and just trust that you can get it to 80%. You got the driver's got to make the other 20. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. So
awesome.
So that's my
those were great stories over dinner. So flash forward 31 years now. Here we are in 2024, and at the end of the dinner, I'm like, "Joel, we have this idea. What do you think? I really want you to be there." And of course, you agreed to come to the event. So you really set the foundation for what we were trying to build for this JConcepts Vintage Class of Champions. And we're so honored to have you as our first confirmed legend. There's so many others in the pipeline that we are working on right now. We've got 4 or 5 others lined up. And I know Dirk and Kirby, their vision was really to bring an event that brought all these legends together, as best that we could. We obviously know there was going to be some hurdles with potentially Masami. Obviously, Kinwald is gone from us, but we're trying to put together all these amazing names to bring the Old School Nation together. So what were your thoughts when I approached you with the idea? And, what are your thoughts on coming out to Indiana to wheel some off-road 31 years later?
I'm excited to come. I'm not excited to go compete. I will be working on my off-road here down at the local track here in Salt Lake, Intermountain. Here, I got to get a car together here in the next month or so. But no, I really, first of all, I appreciate that you guys appreciate the old, where all this came from and the history of it. And I think that's why I want to come out, because it's hard. We don't have a lot of history in that. I mean, we have some history, but it's not really documented very well, right? I mean, we have magazines and things like that, and that's great. But it's fun to kind of get back together and let people see where it's come from. And I love that these re-releases of the old cars that people can get and see what a rear motor car looks like, what it runs like. And I love how they drive, but that's, what I grew up on. So of course I like it, and the newer cars drive much more like on-road. So I would probably like those just as well. But it's, to me, it's just fun. And it's an honor to the people who would love to come out and watch me, compete against some other old washed up guys. So, I think it's cool. And I really appreciate the effort being put in. And
well, good. Well, and I know we've talked about your comments over dinner, and a lot of the other legends have resonated the same thing. And that's why we've created this legends class. That's really a class that we've designed to be protective of you legends, to go out there and have fun, but compete together in amongst each other, kind of in an environment that is controlled, but also that creates fun, but also takes some pressure off you guys. The Old School Nation, there's some hardcore guys. There's a lot of great racers out there. They're going to go out there and thrash in these other classes. We've designed a class that's just for you guys, but we've also, more than less, we're coming up with some amazing things that cater to you guys for the reason you're being there. Q&A sessions, autograph sessions. We're going to paint this facility up to just be awesome with legends and throwback memories. And, we're talking about getting some things together for some ceremonies that we're planning. We're not going to share any of those details, but they are in the works. We're working on some other things for the nightlife as well. And so it really is about you guys being there and being a time capsule for all of us to enjoy your presence in the same building. Because honestly, like Dirk said, there's only been one other race where more than two legends came at the same time. And that was when Rona brought Kinwald to an event. So this race is going to have 12, 13 potential legends, not including all these other big name, old school sponsors that are going to be there that may not be your household names. And so we're going to make the event great. So yeah, I'm super excited to see you guys up on the stand, kind of laughing and having fun. And there's going to be a little bit of that element, but this event's more than just that. So we're just so honored that you're coming. And Dirk can speak on it too, but I know you're on my Mount Rushmore of vintage legends, and I'm pretty sure you're on Dirk's too, and so many others. And we're just so happy to have you as the foundation for what we're building here.
Well, like I said, happy to do it. I love the time you guys are putting in, want to help out and, and support this. I think it could be great. They're doing them in Europe a lot. I get invites every year to go over to Europe, and I will probably have to do one of those here in the next couple of years. Just they've been so gracious to try to get me over there, and it's just timing and this and that. But I will. They put on such great events there as well. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to seeing all the old guys, whoever's going to come, and just and just support this effort to bring some history to the forefront.
Joe, we're stoked, and I know you and I ended up leaving in '89, so we didn't get to spend a ton of time together. But we spent some early days at the tracks with with the legends and the people we want to see here, and it's meant a lot to me to see what you continue to do. And when I came back, I was like, we were riding around in the car one day, my wife and I, and my son in the back seat. She's like, "What did you do as a kid?" I said, well, "I race vintage RC cars, across the U.S. and even the world, and played some sports." She said, "Well, why don't you get back into RC for your son? Little did she know that it was going to turn into what it has now. But it's been a great ride, and when I came back and started old school, I started seeing, people like you and Jay Halsey, and Eustace was still around, and all the names that were currently running the locations now, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, I was stoked, and I'm like, and it took off from there. And this has been a dream of mine to do a reunion and to get the old guys together. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but I was at SEMA this past week and got to spend some time with Halsey and
Cool.
and Curtis. And if Halsey can be there, he's going to be there as well. Just so you know. So it was so awesome, right? To be back on the track.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this a little bit.
Sure.
If we have time. I know you're kind of put up against a start so late.
Oh, we're fine. We can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know that, Daniel Rollins, close friend, really close friend. It tears me up every time I talk about him. But when Daniel had reached out to you and we started communicating about, redoing your original car from, the 87 Worlds, and, we started getting pictures and what was left of it. And it was just awesome. The whole community across the world, right? Everywhere across the world.
It was amazing the amount of people who wanted to, chip in with their information, or they had a part, or that, because this stuff, there just wasn't a lot of it made back then. So, just to find it was amazing. Yeah. So,
right. Yeah. And we were able to come up with all originals, and, a lot of people don't really know that we ran, the Thorpe ball diffs in those cars back in the day as well. And the outer gears and, the different things that made those cars special as well. So to be able to find, and that's a hard part to find nowadays for that car.
Yeah.
But we're really able to find it all. And, I know it was very special to Daniel and a lot of people across the world. So I really appreciate you allowing that to happen. So your car was sent back, right? You took the pictures. Right. By the way, nice jacket, Joel. I wish everybody could kind of see it. This is the OG jacket, baby.
There it is.
I love it. I love that thing. I love that jacket. Yes.
Probably the OG Trinity shirt even. But a special moment, right? And I guess Kyosho reached out about redoing the car as well, correct? And that's kind of
that's where. So Kyosho actually has that car right now. They've had it for years in their wherever it is. I don't know. I haven't been to their new building, but it was in the front of the building in Kyosho, America, when it was in California. And so they reached out to me, whatever it was, 2 years ago now, just gave me a phone call and said, "Hey, we want to do a replica of the 87 car. Are you good with that?" I'm like, would you go use your signature and your likeness? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Whatever you need. Sounds great. I'm like, this is fun. All right. It's just again, it's all about trying to bring the history back and just let people, enjoy what we had and experience what we had. And they did an amazing job with the kit. It's so nice, and it goes together so well. And it's fun to drive. And I was really pleased how the kit came out, and they sold them out immediately to all the retailers. I'm sure there's some sitting on shelves out there, but it really went over, I think, bigger than they even thought it would. And Akira Kagawa was involved with it, which was the original designer.
Isn't that crazy that he's still around, Joel, and doing so well?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We did those videos, and he came back, he's still living in Southern California. And so it's fun to come back and reconnect with him and all my friends at Kyosho as well that I worked with for years out there. And so it's just the overall experience has just been wonderful. And to have it spark, between the gold chassis car, this car, and see other, have it spark races and these types of revivals, stuff's going on overseas in Europe. It's just great. So, it's very cool. Yeah, there it is, right? That is the iconic of all iconic.
No, so you know what, Joel? It's to me the two most iconic cars of all time are these two right here, right?
Yeah, well,
they are. They're well. I say that and I kind of mean it, and I, after the car yours got launched, several years later, Curtis and I started talking
the car,
and bringing back the Jay's car as well, and I think that's what it's about right now. It's about when I was at SEMA, it was really to see all the people walk up and really come and talk about what those those cars sitting on the table meant to them as kids, man.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's really what it's about. I mean, the whole format of the racing and getting people together, it's about community, and it's about talking about your past and, truly enjoying those moments when you were a kid.
Yeah.
I think we're probably all at that point in our lives where those are the things that, tickle our belly a little bit,
Yeah, it was much different back then than it is now. I mean, it's natural, but it was, while it was very serious, it was a different seriousness. I don't even know how to explain it, but we were, I mean, 87, I wasn't really I was getting paid a little bit back then. But it wasn't that drive to make a paycheck. You were just out trying to win races and enjoying, doing what we did. But the other thing it was very different is you're working with the actual car designers back then,
Yeah.
As this thing grew. I mean, Akira was at the 87 Worlds, I mean, he's there, he's the one designing the car, and going forward, Losi's and Cliff Letts of the world, they're at the races working with the race team. And it was, it was amazing. It was really, really fun, and nothing had been perfected to the nth degree. So there's a lot of experimenting going on in the cars, and it's just fun. It's like anything in the beginning. It's a lot more Wild West, if you will, and a lot more mixed. And then as the, if you don't change the rules, everything just kind of, goes to a point, and all the cars end up pretty much where they are now, where they all look pretty much the same, because that's where, that's the fastest way to go around the track. So, but I really enjoyed all the different things the guys tried back then and how quickly things changed, and it was great.
Well, I'll leave you guys with this, but I know Joel's got to go to a dinner here in about 20 minutes, but I've done some testing with the Altima. I've got a spare one up here. This is my replica here. My runner car is up there, and I took it to Hoosier and worked on some setup changes with Eddie, the owner. And we posted a video on Old School Nation forum there. But man, that car straight balls out with slicks on it. I mean, it is fun to drive. It is planted. And I think you're going to really have a great time. One of the cool things I'll say too is I know Brian Dunbar. I've become really good friends with him. He's got a Losi XX that we've kind of helped build with some people in the background over the years, and he's ran it a few times. And I always ask Brian, I'm like, what's it like to run that car up on the stand on these modern, tracks with the slicks? And he just says it reminds me of the old times. It brings back good memories. And I really think that when you get to Hoosier and you get your Altima on the track with those slicks and it's locked in and you're just out there having a ball, I really hope that you're going to find a place in your mind and you're going to be like, this is pretty cool. So, again, we're super happy that you came. I think we're going to do some great things. And like I said, that Altima, I sent you the setup sheet behind the scenes, and it just straight balls out. So you're going to love it.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoy the way the rear motor cars drive, because that, where you can swing the weight, and it's just the timing of the car. When I first drove this, when I met Kyosho to do that original video for the promotion and put it on the track, and I was pretty amazed how quickly I was able to do. Bottom line, we're going around a modern track with these jumps, lots of jumps and things, and I was able to get around the track without marshals, everywhere, 2-3 times a lap. So it was fun, and the car performed really much better than I thought it would on tracks that it wasn't really designed to be run on, if you will.
Yeah.
So it was
People
fun.
already
I look
asking for
forward
the
to it.
setup sheet, Joel.
I got it. It's sitting up here. It's,
Yeah,
it's in my cabinet.
Give me that setup sheet.
Yeah, Joe, I took good care of him. I sent him some JC Racing pepper shot wheels to use for the new tires he's going to mount up on there, and made sure he was really taken care of and ready for this event. And like I said, that setup, I'm going to work on it a little bit more with Brian after the new year here in the Clash race. But man, I was really happy. I mean, Eddie was standing next to me. I gave him the remote for a couple laps, and his knees were buckling up on the track. How good that thing was driving around there. So
That's awesome.
he's like, I could drive this thing all day long. So I think I'm excited, and like I said, we're going to continue to communicate and do great things. And Joel, thank you so much for laying the foundation for the Legends confirmed drivers, because it means a lot, and it's really helped allow Dirk to build out the rest of the Legends. And I'm just super pumped to spend a weekend with you at the track. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's an amazing thing. I look forward to seeing who else is going to come, and looking forward to the Q&As and just kind of connecting with people and reminiscing a little bit, and just having some fun, right?
That's what it's about. We're going to take care of it. That's what it's about. We're going to make it really fun for you guys. And you'll have fun on the track with your old buddies, but that's just a small portion of what this race is about. So I'm looking forward to spending all the time and seeing the whole Old School Nation rally around you and asking for autographs and pictures. It's going to be really cool.
Andy Jacobson is watching now.
Andy,
yes. So Andy, I got to be careful. I got to be careful what I say, because I'm like wanting to say we're trying to slow roll this. We're trying to build up to it, but you can always learn in the background, Joel, what we got going on for sure. Yeah. And once again, can't thank you enough. Does anybody have any questions for Joel they would like to ask while we got him on here?
Sure.
How much more time you got, Joel? I know you got a 10-minute drive.
I got another 5 minutes easy.
All right, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. All right. So some of the stuff people were saying, Legend, the stories we have from Kyle
Reed,
Joel.
Kyle Reed, yes.
I know there's some stories there for sure. The Godzilla shirt. Oh man, we lost our boy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He was great to me as a kid as well. But I tell you what, he would push the hell out of you to make you the best. And he didn't put up with no crap, and he always pushed the envelope to the very shortest place you could push it.
Not much.
Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, right, Joel?
Right. Yeah. He could break you in a hurry if you weren't ready.
Brian Hawaiian RC said, "Hey Joel, nice work." I know there's a lot of people that are Ernie did make us better, Kyle. He did. He really pushed. Kyle, do we have Kyle confirmed yet? If Kyle's not confirmed, I would love to see him.
Like, wait, I just wanted to come in on the chat.
What have I done here?
Yeah, what have you done?
Awesome.
So do we really want Kyle there? Yeah. No, just kidding. No. But thank you, Joel.
Yeah.
From the bottom of our hearts for making this happen. We're going to make it a fun event for you.
What's
in the background?
What's my background? It's my garage.
What's in the background? I see some yellow and I see some.
Yeah, it's my fun car. It's my yellow 911 back there.
Oh,
nice.
Which is about ready to be put to bed because it's going to start snowing. So.
Okay. Time to go night.
It'll be pickled in a couple days and put up on
Awesome.
Get the tire cradles and then sit for 6 months, unfortunately.
Awesome.
That's what we need to do. We need to plan a cruising trip too, Joe. I'll take try to stay close to you with the C7 and we can go for a ride.
It's close. I'm sure you can go right by me in that thing.
Well, Joel, I appreciate you texting me all the time. I really enjoy the relationship that we've developed even over a small dinner, and it'll continue to grow. One of my true heroes in the RC sport. I love it. And if there's anything you need, just reach out to Dirk or I, and we'll make sure that it comes to life leading up to the event.
You bet. And same thing for me. If you guys want me to come back on or whatever, I'm always happy to do this. It's
Awesome.
really, I love reminiscing and talking about it. And
Yeah.
I'd love to see the event be a success for you guys, because I know
Yeah.
you're putting a lot
I
of work.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Hey,
You being there is huge. So, and honestly, it just gives all these other legends we're talking to, we bring up your name, and it just brings validity to what we're building. And, everybody's like, oh, Joel's going to be there. I need to come too. So,
hey,
Right. And
that's great. Love it.
Andy might have gave it away. He said, I just can't wait to see everyone. So,
yeah, awesome.
Andy has confirmed as well, Joel. He's gonna come to the event. We got some other big names that you're gonna be happy to see after all these years for sure.
Yeah.
Keep working on that junior guy for us if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll make that happen. I will.
Yeah. If there's anything we can do to help nudge that fence along to get painted white, let us know.
All right, we'll do. Sure.
Awesome. Joel, thank you. I know you get to dinner.
Drew and I are going to stay on. You're welcome to drop. We cannot thank you enough, my friend.
Yes.
Hey, I appreciate the time. Happy to, when you need some more time, just let me know. So
we might have a couple of y'all on at the same time so we can do some arm wrestling and talk some shit stories. You know what I mean?
That would be perfect.
Get a little shit talking going on like the old days.
Yes, of course.
Skull racing. I'm going to crush your head.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael, Painter Mike, he's still a fun dude. I'm trying to get him here as well. Him and I have done some races together in Chicagoland, and he is so fun to be around. All right, looks like he dropped.
Yep, Joel's off. He's off to his dinner.
He's off to his dinner.
Well, that was awesome.
Let me change. Can we change over Adam and Adam? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Adam.
Background. Can you change us over to the 2-screen format? Do you see it? Oh, that's the wrong one. That's my crap collage I made there.
Still looks pretty good.
There you go. That's it. Thank you. I first off I'd like to thank Adam Ross for helping make all this happen tonight. We're still trying to get the video posted in different areas. For some reason, it come up in private mode. But I tried to share it to as many pages as I could think of to get people involved.
Yeah, and I saw a lot of comments popping up on my box on my view too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we can try to answer some of those questions. And Drew, you still got a little time?
Yes,
Drew,
sir.
You good for a little bit?
Yes, sir.
So we can, wow, how awesome, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, for those of you that don't know the full background, I was out in California on a golf trip, and I had a layover in Salt Lake City, and I knew from one of my good friends, Ron Schur, that he had moved to Salt Lake recently. And so it just got my mind thinking as we were, having that vintage race and talking about what could be someday. I was like, I'm going to just, reach out to him and see what happens. And I did. And next thing you know, we're having a dinner at a little place that he picked out in Salt Lake City. We were the only ones in there. And next thing you know, 4 hours go by, and it just was like time kind of stood still for a while. Just listen to his stories and just listen to his passion about the vintage community and what it means to him. I really feel that Joel is really motivated highly by the fan base of vintage cars and old school nation. And I think that's why he's coming out here. I think obviously my presence in Utah was pretty cool that someone would fly out there to meet with him like that. But I think at the end of the day, he wants to come and cater to all these people that have supported what meant a lot to him back in the day. So, and you can see that.
Yes, we appreciate you doing that for sure. You taking the time to do that means a lot. But Joe was a special person, even, when we worked with him on that car and the different things, and we've stayed in touch, but I think you showing up, kind of set it over the bar, Drew.
Yeah.
It's what pushed it to where we needed to be with him. And it, like you said, it's led to a bunch of others. And, so one of the things I want to do tonight is, talk a little bit about the sponsors You have the sponsor sheet handy by chance? If not, I can try to pull it up.
I do have that handy, actually. Yeah.
So if you have it handy, I want to talk a little bit about the sponsors. I know Heath just shared something very special with me that I want to share about the race. I want to talk a little more about, and Adam, I know you're sitting there in the background. If you got something else to do, brother, you're welcome to drop. But if you want to hang out, and you're welcome to do that as well. I can't thank you enough for all your support to make this happen. And we do hope to see you at the race. And I probably won't be the last time I reach out, Adam, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, Adam, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know it was like we were getting to that time frame, but Joel was texting me and he was just being so gracious. He's like, I just have a dinner at 6. I got 10-minute drive, so you got all that window between there. Yeah. So talk about the sponsors. We got.
Yeah. So one more thing, real quick, Drew. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want to thank Mike Kirby too. He really, yesterday I was struggling with these backgrounds. He's like, Dirk, just let me have that stuff and let me do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he was whipping through and he was showing me video last night. I was like, damn, Kirby got this. So
I mean, the background looks amazing and so far above my pay grade of knowledge, but man, he really killed it. It looks awesome. It really
sure
does.
Did. He knocked it way out of the park. We do still have to correct the logo down here. This was just a placeholder, but
for Hoosier, that's okay. We'll get there.
Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. So first off, the founding fathers, right? You got myself, Drew, Mike Kirby, and oh my goodness, Eddie and Angie of Hoosier RC Hobbyplex. This was just 4 guys getting together, talking about a vision. And bringing it to life. And that's what this race is going to be. Kirby and I had been, Drew and I have done, oh my goodness, Drew and I have done some races together way back when. One of the first races I think I went to was Drew reached out. And I'll tell you what, the Indiana boys are fast as hell. Them Oval boys come out and bust you up on the off-road as well.
Yeah.
But Drew let me know, and it's when I was traveling almost every weekend, going to different vintage races and promoting. And he's like, man, you got to come out to PT Hobbies, hang out with us. And, it was one of the oldest tracks in the country at the time. I think it was like number 2 or so.
Yeah. The only more RC at the time was older than P&T Hobbies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And remind me, the owner, we talk all the time, the owner of PT.
Yeah. Paul Weber.
Yeah. Paul Weber.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see Paul out at the event too, to have him come to Hoosier would be amazing. I know he just had some work done to those bionic knees, but
yes, for sure.
It would be good to see him come out. But Drew and I, met way back then. We started, and I went to an event about a year ago at a location, and he puts on some of the best events I've ever seen as far as catering. I'm in the business, the people business, right? I'm in the business to please the guests. And, when I saw how Drew did that for his racers at all the events he did, it's like, man, if we could build this dynamic, and it's Drew's home track where Eddie is. And Mike Kirby and I started talking about a vision probably 9 years ago about trying to bring the legends and the newer racers together at one event. Originally, we were going to do it at the K&K farm. And then, I went and saw Hoosier for the first time. And it's like, man, this is the place to do this race. It's just incredible. You got Angie and Eddie that are just fantastic hosts. The facilities is hands down one of the top in the country. That runs very, very well with a large hobby shop, can hold up to 300 racers easily. So where else better than to do the event for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I look back at it and P&T Hobbies was a great platform. It's like you walked into the hobby shop and you saw like old Pro Line tires that had been on the wall for so long that no other hobby shop really had, and it just kind of screamed vintage. And also at the time, Indiana didn't have Hoosier RC. We didn't have any other. We didn't have Bill's RC. We didn't have all these other hobby tracks. And Midwest RC was really craving for something. So I started working on some events, kind of got my feet wet in that. Adam Rails was such a big supporter of everything I was doing there. And of course, next thing you know, Adam's nudging me on the vintage side. And And I knew that he had just went out to Eric's event on the East Coast, the Vintage Nationals, which is still viewed as the premier event of vintage. And, really, we're just trying to work together with all of us to build some amazing things and try to make vintage great. And, so his influence, Eric's influence, is what's helped me pave the path for where I'm at. Adam has helped me pave that path. And then obviously I got introduced to Kirby and Dirk, who have the biggest reputation of the vintage world. It's like, if you can't run vintage cars and you can't do these events without these two guys. So building a relationship with you, building a relationship with Kirby. And then obviously when Eddie got the track going and got it a well-oiled machine, it's like, and his passion for vintage, it's like, okay, this is the perfect storm to bring everybody together and put this on. And so it's really cool. I'm just happy to be a part of trying to make the vision that you and Kirby laid down happen behind the scenes. So I'm pretty stoked.
You are the man, Drew. I mean it.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's all a teamwork, man. I mean, you and Kirby are doing such amazing things. I'm trying to help keep coordination. Eddie's just, he's got a business to run, but at the same time, he's there, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, it's the other thing about Hoosier and all this is that going to a facility like that's so well oiled that that the platform is already turnkey and everything else is all just, let's make this great. When I did the other races leading up to this, I always had to kind of understand how the track layout was going to get done, what was going to be involved. Do we need to go clean the racetrack up and make it ready? We don't have to do that with Hoosier. Now we just get to go into this platform and execute it to all the things we want to see happen. And it's just going to be so cool to pull that all off and do all the extra things we're doing behind the scenes. Look at that pit, man. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah. And just so you guys know, there's a lot, and Eric Reichert can tell you this. There is a ton of work that goes into this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. We are trying to pull off something that has never been done before. And it's gonna, Jason Runo was huge to step up and be the title sponsor of this event.
Yeah.
And, the reason he did this is because he truly has faith in Hoosier RC, Mike Kirby, Drew, and myself to make this an epic event. But I'll tell you what, it's not going to be epic unless the community comes out and supports it, right?
That's right.
And anybody that knows me or Drew that have been to races, it's about community. It's about involving those. And, old school is going on. It's 10 years now. And that's what we're about. And, somebody asked me the other day or made a comment that said, well, the page is not the same it was 5 or 6 years ago. You know what? You're right. It's not. It's different because my goal has changed. My goal has changed into I want vintage racing to be something that is shared across the U.S. And I think we've got the partners to do it. And I want to, hold great events and have people want to be at those events. And it's not about competing. It's about the vintage community.
Yep.
And you can't just throw a name out there and say, hey, we're going to hold a big vintage event. We are this. If you don't have the community behind you and you don't have the support, I wish you the best.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I can say.
And to your point, the last thing is for all those people that are on the fence, I mean, it's so hard to get these legends to commit to come to do this. And so on the platform that we're going to be laying out with so many of them in the same building at the same time, I know we've said this, we're going to try to do, maybe things in the future, but you really got to look at this. And we've talked about it, once in a lifetime event to be a part of this event. It is really a bucket list item. So don't pass up the opportunity to get on a flight or to get in the car and drive out here to see, to be right there with Joel and, all these other legends we're about to announce over the next few months. It's going to be pretty amazing. And just talking to these legends and hearing how excited they are about being at this event it's like makes it all worthwhile on the back end. And Dirk and Kirby and Eddie and I know that because we've talked to these guys and we know what they're saying. So Old School Nation, you got to come, man. I'm telling you, we're working hard.
Yeah, and it's we've seen some large events, and my buddy Bormac, I mean, they just put on one hell of an event over in Australia.
Yeah,
And,
amazing.
We can do the same. We can do the same here, right? It takes us all to come together. And Ryan Letard just said he's got it on his schedule already.
Awesome.
Big name in RC. I would love to get Kyle here. That would be absolutely amazing. Saturday night over racing at JJ's.
So we've talked about the founding fathers. We talked about the title sponsor. Then we've got these two amazing platinum sponsors that are on the banner, right?
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So I pulled up and on the screen, I don't know why it's not letting me make my screen bigger.
Looks really good on my view. I mean,
does it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it on the phone. It looks good.
Okay, so platinum sponsor, Heath Mescal, Cal RC has stepped up to be a platinum sponsor. On the screen, you're going to see the B main trophies that are being introduced right now for the first time. Not only that, he's doing a lot of other stuff as well to help support the event as far as prize packs. And there's actually a coupon code in a video that we really need to start sharing, Heath, and we will start doing that very soon.
Yep.
I don't know if he's on, if he can share the comment in the video, but we do have a special code that if you use that code during this time period for the race, there's a percentage of all, you're going to get a discount, and the percentage of that discount will be shared with the race to help us build the race, do the great things we're doing, help buy trophies, help do all those things. Yep. We will make sure that is shared. But that's the first place trophies. They look fabulous.
So talk about these a little bit, Dirk. So, obviously we're working on A main awards that are your traditional, really cool custom awards that are going to be unveiled to those guys. But Cal RC stepped up with, a comment from Dirk, and they have came up with B main top 3 awards?
Yeah, top 3, yep.
Top 3 for all the B mains of the vintage classes. So I'm pretty pumped. Like I was telling Kirby, I'm like, I want to be top 3 in the B main and get one of these bad boys.
You're right.
Yeah. So I think we're going to have some really cool mains, and I guess I'll say, I transferred at INS. I had one of my best races recently as a person, and I transferred out of the C mains into the B mains, and then worked my way up about mid pack in the Bs. But it was so rewarding to transfer out of the C into the B that, I think these pit awards for these guys that are going to be up in that top 3 of the B main, there's going to be some really big solitude for making that happen. You might miss the A main, but man, you're going to have fun. You're going to get these B main pit mats, which are freaking legit trophies. So kudos to Cal RC on that.
They are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, look at that.
As you see here, this is the first place. I like what he's done here. That's your big boy. As you go down, the trophies get a little smaller. See this?
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet, right?
Epic pictures with the people holding those. So.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think we did something similar at another race, right, Drew? I don't remember if it was one of yours or another one, but we've done this in the past. But I wanted to share those. Heath worked hard to get those on there for me to show tonight. So I wanted to see those. Well, Matt Hines is watching with us as well. Drew, you got anything to say?
Matty Hines. Yeah, Matty H. Yeah, he's coming to the race. He's been he's got a B5. He's been working hard and just kicked my butt at the last race at Hoosier with it. I know. I had my B4 too out there, and he wiped me clean. So I got some work to do.
I have not done very well against him either. He's super fast.
He's got that B5 rolling, and he's been putting some crazy work into it. So
those that don't know who Matt is, do you want to share Matt's story and who Matt is?
Yeah, Matt Hines and I. It's so funny. So my mom worked for Bob Glidden, a drag racer, growing up, and I knew of Matt Hines, NHRA Pro Stock bike champion from the 90s and 2000s, one of the winningest drivers in NHRA history. Just to kind of continue to rave about him. Percentage-wise of races that he raced in versus how many won. Anyway, I was in PNT Hobbies. I was back in there calling the race, and I just kept seeing this Matt Hines name, and I'm like, man, I wonder if that's like the guy that used to race pro stock bikes, And sure enough, and a guy came in there, Robert Stevens, and was like, yeah, that's the Matt Hines. So anyway, I remember reaching out. I still remember today, I sent him a personal message, and he responded, and next thing you know, we're hanging out the track together. And I think he's probably one of my closest RC buddies. We share setups, we talk all the time. And the great thing about Matt is that he, as much as, you know, pro stock bikes meant to him, RC car and racing is almost more important to him. It's so cool to see the passion that he has, and he loves being at the RC car track, and he loves talking about RC stuff. And so yeah, he'll be there too. So a legend in a different form of racing, but he is all about RC cars, man. I love it.
God, he was so fast back in the day too.
Oh yeah. I have a couple of his diecasts down here in the basement that he's given me. Got the Superman bike and James Dean bike and Dracula bike. It was just epic stuff. So yeah, he's a great guy. I love to bounce ideas off him, and we test a lot and we work hard behind the scenes, and it's just a really fun way to continue to enjoy RC when you got good friends like that.
Yeah, he's been getting better and better. It's good to see, you know, Indiana is a place of racers, right? That's where seems like a lot of racers come there to retire too.
Yeah. I mean, Matt and I have really dedicated ourselves this past year to really testing a lot and preparing for INS and putting up good results. And honestly, I mean, we put up some, you know, I hit all my goals. I know he hit all his goals. His A main and short course didn't go as well as he wanted, but I mean, we were sitting there having beers after the race thinking, man, we really did this. Now let's see what we can do and try to be better for next year. But it's a fun ride. And it's part of RCs that make it so amazing is just the people around you. That's what makes it great.
Somebody said on here, get Greg Hodap. Think we can handle that?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
All right. Got Andy Jacobson that's commented. Of course, Kyle Reed. Kyle did say he's going to try to make it, even if it's just to help in the pits.
Awesome.
Got Jerry Walter that just joined. I know Jerry is bringing some folks down from. That will be amazing.
Now, Jerry's the one that does all those carbon fiber cars, right?
Jerry is he was instrumental in helping get oh my goodness, I got Sunday brain. He was instrumental. Help me out here in the big race for our fallen legend out in California going at RC Hobbyplex. So yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I have trouble recalling names sometimes. I'm crazy. It's got me. So, but I don't know as far as Jerry what he makes. He's a legend. I think he's qualified for some worlds and been in some worlds. But he and some others are coming as well.
Good.
Sorry, getting off track, getting back to the sponsors. We talked about CalRC. CalRC has been, I'm gonna be honest, man, amazing to me. I was selected to be one of their very first team managers back in the day when we were, first starting. We were talking about CalRC and trying to get the name out there, and not everybody knew what it was, and not many racers were using the products, and there was a couple of us that are out there just hitting it hard. And then I kind of fell off from racing and doing those things. And, Heath and I have remained close regardless. Even before that, we were really close, but he's been a huge supporter. And, I say a lot of times, and I don't just say it because of Heath, but I don't ever want to do another build without my CalRC stuff, or race another race without my CalRC stuff, because it's, it's an amazing setup. It helps keep you organized, and the products are truly, they really are the best in the industry. Sorry, I got to tell my wife good night. She's got a very early flight tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, my wife flew to Houston, Texas today, so I'm kind of just got the kids upstairs and kind of a bachelor for a couple of days, so it's kind of nice.
I am too, Drew. We should have a party because mine's on her way to Dominican Republic.
All right, I'm heading down to Tennessee right now.
Bring the kids.
So yeah, we've got obviously everybody knows MIP. We know the brand.
Yep.
I think we simply have to leave MIP at this. Stay tuned, because you're going to be mind blown at some of the stuff that they're bringing to the table, right?
Yeah, I will. I will say that. Um, you got some really cool stuff coming, and I mean, there's some stuff they've Eustace has been really good about listening to his fan base and
Yep.
Putting out product for these cars. They released the RC10, the 10T, and from what I saw from the hints, it looks like the DS is coming right around the corner. I'm talking about CVDs for those products.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, talking to Eustace, he's so giddy about the vintage stuff, right? Because he's, he lived it. He's been there. He did it.
Lived it. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's what built his brand and what,
yep.
I mean, without RC in that era, MAP may be a totally different vessel than what it is now. I mean, he's lived it his whole life and built a whole life around it. So it's pretty amazing stuff. I love MIP. I use all their tools. I've got their CVDs for the RC. I put them in a new build I just did this week. I show you some pictures. I'll kind of let that go, but yeah, amazing top quality stuff. Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the tools. I don't know the people that know the story, but the original tool started as Thorpe, but product line, and of course, Eustace is, to me, the most instrumental change in all of RC back in the 80s was when the MIP transmission came out. The three gear style transmission, it truly changed racing. And then later somebody would come out with a very similar transmission that would show up in your team associated style cars. But Eustace and what Matt Olson has done with Mod Live has been incredible as well. So we're excited to have Mod there as well.
Yeah,
we hadn't talked about that a whole lot, Drew, and what kind of Mod being there is going to do for this. It's really going to be the first public stage to have a vintage event live broadcasted, right?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Olson and I go way back, just from small interactions with him giving me a T-shirt to just staying in touch, and me running a lot of his products just by choice. But man, what he's done on the broadcast side in the last year, I mean, I watched the Worlds at in Arizona, and I was blown away by the coverage. And the other thing that kind of hit me was that, I do a lot of travel with my kids, and we would be sitting on the plane together, and I'd have, the Mod broadcast pulled up at, a big race, whether it's Costa Champions or whatever. And to be able to see that kind of coverage, I mean, sometimes the coverage that he's providing is better than some of coverage that NASCAR and F1 are providing to racers. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about RC is that you feel like you're in tune with the results, the times, but you're, those. So yeah, Mod broadcast, him being there and broadcasting, it's amazing. We're going to have so many live interviews. And I don't want to use it as a vessel for people that can't make it, but for the people that are not going to be at the event, you're going to feel like you're there because we're going to bring all the legends onto the broadcast and all the racing. And I can tell you that when I transferred in the C main at 9S, I made a last straightaway pass for the win. I know I got so many messages. My inbox was blowing up on my phone at the track. Like, I just witnessed one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was so amazing. And I've watched that video probably 50 times. Just every time I watch it, it's like, it just makes the hair stand up on me. And so that was all because of the Mod broadcast and what he brings to this sport and this hobby. And it's just, there's other ones that do it, but man, I'm so happy that he's there and able to support this race for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I am as well. It's gonna be huge. Oh, so why we're getting ready to switch over, talk about other sponsors, but we have our first, speaking of sponsors, Drew Boyd Racing is pitching in a lot of do-re-mi for this event. And thank you, Drew. And part of what we're doing is we're doing waffles, right? So we've got our first one that we just launched, and blame it on me. The waffles used to be very responsive. A car like this would typically be sold out within 30 minutes. I could not keep up with how quick they would be selling.
Yeah.
But it's all about timing. It's all about consistency. But those that are watching, I strongly urge you. We have a nice Nix 91 runner car that Drew had built. It has all the electronics in it, everything except for a lipo. A great looking car with extras. No expenses spared. I would say this car, when you built this car, I would have to say you probably have $1,300-$1,400 in this car if I was guessing.
Yeah, for sure. I actually bought the car from Chris Norlock. He sold me a package of Nix 91s. He sold me the runner, which is here, and then of course, I have the gem of RC, the original one. So I built one. That was my Masami replica, and then I had that one that I ran a few times racing. And so I just felt like it was the right time. I've got 5 other vintage cars that I'm trying to create focus on. I've got my heritage car, my 17.5 car, my post 97 car, and then I've got 2 4-wheel drives now. And so I thought, let's get this done. And so the backstory of that car is that, I built it up. I raced it. It's got composite arms that Chris Norlock's buddy, Fred Baumgartner, I believe is his name. He built the molds for those and made those. They're on the car. They're spares. It's a true runner Nix 91. So it's got some of the 3D printed parts, but it is pretty legit. And then, of course, I reached out to Masami and sent him a box of stuff directly to Japan last February. And he wrote me back and, signed, sealed, and delivered a bunch of wheel dots for me, a bunch of wheels for my entire collection. So I've got all Masami's 7 world-winning cars all signed. And then I had a couple extra wheel dots, and I wanted to, include those. So I've got all the certificate of authenticities for that, so to speak. I can share some of the communications, but definitely, scoop up a $20 spot on that car, and I'll get it packed up, beautifully and wrapped with a handwritten note, and I'll get it sent out to the winner, and it'll be a prized collection. Prize piece in your collection.
Yeah, we got that car. I think just a little under $1,100. That car is. If you were to try to build that car now, it would cost you a lot more than that. I can promise you that. So
and I built it to the same specs as like Masami's car.
Right.
I tried to make it a runner and more durability, but I tried to make it, where I cut up the battery holder to where he had the Velcro straps on the backside, and put the Lunsford, 1/4-inch turnbuckles on. I really wanted it to be a piece that made me feel like I was running what he ran in 91. And I think the last time I ran it, I actually finished second with it at a vintage race. So it's a pretty legit car. It's definitely got some fragile to it, but it's pretty darn good for what it is. So scoop it up, and I'm excited to communicate who the winner of that car is here soon.
Oh yeah, and we'll get it sold out. I'll have to.
Yeah. And like I said, and all the $1,000 that we make off that car, it's going directly to the event. I'm not keeping back any of it. It's all going into the pot to make the racers and the race as great as it can be. So,
and that's in addition to the money that Drew's already donating for this race and the special things he's doing on side.
Yeah,
and guys,
want to make it great.
Yeah, don't think we make money on these races. We do not.
Labor of love, right?
The labor of love that Drew and I have for, Vintage RC and the community, it's what makes this group special. Myself, Drew, Mike, Eddie, it's hard. You work hard in this hobby, and you work hard to have a successful event. So don't think that what we're doing is, there's a lot going on in the background. Trust me. Drew and I talk to each other many times a day, and there's many emails flying back and forth, and there's hours spent doing this type of stuff, and hours spent when we're communicating at the founding 4 together. So it's a lot. And
totally a labor of love. I mean, really, what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to make this race as amazing as we can, and take all the costs that are involved in it, pay those off, and then basically the owners of the track, Eddie and Angie, can properly run their business and benefit from the entry fees that the racers provide to come enjoy the event. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. So we got MIP, we got Team K&K listed here, which we talked about, Mike Kirby. Let's talk about a few of the others, Drew. We'll stay on maybe another 10 and drop.
So the next levels are gold sponsors. We've got some amazing gold sponsors lined up. We've got Kyosho's on board. They're going to do some awesome stuff. Yokomo's on board. So you're talking about some of the key manufacturers that made RC what it is. And then we've got, Hot Rod Hobbies with Jimmy Babcock stepping up. We've got Donathan RC.
Let's stop for just a second. So
yeah.
Jimmy Babcock, we haven't talked about it a whole much, but Jimmy Babcock will be our race director. Working closely with Mod and Angie and Eddie. He'll be directing the race. I wanted somebody that had the vintage flair to them. Sorry, not I. We all talked about this decision and of having Jimmy there, and we're super stoked to have Jimmy there coming to do the.
I mean, it's a perfect fit. I was looking at some vintage stuff the other day on Facebook, and sure enough, a photo of him actually popped up back in the day when he won like stock or modified truck or something. I didn't realize he was as good of a racer back then as he was. So pretty. I mean, you talk about a perfect fit for bridge and modern and vintage RC together in an event like that. And plus he knows all the he knows how to run a perfect show. It's just a dream come true to have him do that.
Yeah, it sure is.
So yeah, we got, like I said, a couple of the big sponsors. Then you start to talk about some of the people that are supporting the vintage crowd. You got Fan RC, Dragon Punch RC, Moto Obsuro, Rubik's, is stepping up at gold level as well. I mean, some of these guys that are making some really keystone cars in the vintage world are all like, man, I want to be a gold sponsor and support this race. Clink RC, One Up, man, the list just goes on. DW Designs, Boki Bodies. I mean, we've got so many gold level sponsors that we'll be announcing here soon on a specific flyer. But they're providing waffles, they're providing giveaways, they're providing, monetary value to help us cover costs in the back end. And they're all stepping up and doing different things to bring value to the event, and to make it awesome for the racers when they show up too.
Yeah. And, I don't know if y'all saw earlier. Let me see if I can pull it up. You should see it in the intro, but we got Boom Graphics working on the graphics for all this stuff. Of course, what we're seeing now is Mike Kirby Productions right here.
Right.
So, they're doing the releases as we release Legends. They're going to be on here. I know we've got one coming up. We got another one next week, Drew.
Another one next Sunday. Yeah, another legend. Two legends actually on that one.
Two legends will be joining us next Sunday. Next
Same time.
I think we've got most of the kinks worked out. We will start on time, hopefully. I mean, we started an hour early to test, and right at the last minute, we ran into something that we could not figure out. So, we're trying to make this great, and I don't want to be rushed, and there's been a lot going into trying to get these to work right. So, hopefully y'all enjoy them. So next week we've got two legends that we're going to talk to. And then the next, or we got like back to back, right?
Yeah, we haven't officially booked the next one after that. I know we got to talk to him about his availability, but he's obviously said he wants to do it. We just got to work that in. It could be the 20th. It may be right after Thanksgiving or maybe early December. We got to figure that out. But
yeah. We're
trying to do them every 2 weeks is what our plan is.
Every 2 weeks should be the plan. And then what I'd like to do, Drew, is every week, maybe every other week, maybe you and I can get together and just chat or whatever. It may become too much, but I want to keep everyone informed on what's going on. I did just had I kind of mentioned it earlier. I had a great visit. Team Associated invited me out to SEMA. So that I could see Halsey and talk about the car that just came out and spend a little time with Halsey. We had some great talks, reminiscing and talking about the race. And those that haven't seen, there's been some teaser pictures of Associated advertising a race out in Vegas this year as well. So, with that said, I will tell you this, that, Richard Saxton and I are going to be having some chats on Tuesday to talk about the coordination. Team Associated is bringing some people to the race. So they're going to be bringing Curtis is bringing some people and some folks from AE. But that's kind of where we're at with that right now. But they are going to be a supporter of their event for sure. And we're trying to make sure we're coordinating these events. We got the fall when this race has been announced, but don't know clarity. And that's typically when Eric Reichert does his big vintage race as well.
Sure.
So we want to make sure we're not stepping on toes with these races, and that we're having a good time. And it's about the community.
Yeah.
Did I lose you, Drew?
No, I'm still here.
You look like you're curled up and ready to take a nap.
No, I'm looking at something on the computer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's she look like?
What she looks like. No, we're all good. But yeah, we'll continue to mix in some good stuff. Try to keep the content a little bit more specific and streamlined, so it doesn't run as long. But yeah, so we'll work on next week's intro here, and we'll just keep cranking on stuff. Like I said, you guys will be seeing a full list of the sponsors here soon. We're working on that. Just we need a little bit more time to gather everything, kind of clean up some stuff, but we're making progress on the back end, so it'll all be there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Drew. Appreciate
you,
buddy. Sorry
you.
About your Colts today. I can't believe Joey Logano just won another championship.
It's all good. Go Lions, I guess.
Yeah, go Lions, right?
All right,
and
see you guys.
Again, thank Adam for his help. That was instrumental. So deuces, guys. We'll get this shared to as many places as possible so y'all can all see it. We love you guys. Can't wait to see you out. Oh, one other thing. The flyers say March 28th to 30th. We are going to end up opening practice up on March 27th at 12 p.m. For anybody that wants to pay. I believe Angie agreed to $20. You can come have all day, practice like the old days. So you can come out and practice, and then the next day the track will open at 9 and practice will go to 12, I believe, before we start running the first round of heats.
Yeah, and we're working on an updated specific schedule flyer.
Right.
That you'll see all that info on there. But yeah, you're right. It'll be really good. I think they're going to have club racing the Wednesday night too. So all right, man. Well, we'll keep the communications going. Thank you.
Man. All right, bye. Bye, y'all.